my reflection journal for module 3. And watching Being Mr. Jensen again, it actually gets me pretty emotional. I'm really grateful for this assignment. It opened a lot of things for me. Fostering a positive teaching environment was something that I lacked, because my own natural, and I guess more everyone's natural instinct is to, when you have students like the little boy in the video that was ultimately a drummer, tapping in their classroom, your first reaction is to yell, stop, hey, hold still, and stop being a child nonetheless, is what we're saying. Stop being a child. And in studying my theorist Maria Montessori, her big thing was letting a child be a child. Children move. Children like to touch things. Children are sensory learners. And I was pretty negative in thinking about and using manipulatives. I remember when they first told me that we can use manipulatives when teaching the kids math, or when they are working on Success Maker or working on an individual assignment, they're allowed to use cubes and manipulatives and 10 rods and counters. And I remember thinking they're just going to play with it. They're just going to pull it out and build towers and want to build castles and just play with it. I was just negative. And I'm embarrassed to think that I was like that, when children truly just learn by sensory, by touching, by being able to use their imagination, by seeing, by like sensory, by touching, like Montessori said. So when I started establishing those positive relationships with my students and stopping myself before getting upset if I see one child build a tower or build like 2 rods and like make a super long rod and say it's a sword. I've had that happen with my students, and I just, hey, I redirect them to work on their problems, work on their math problems. And the tools, manipulatives, are not used for toys. But I've seen the change of, instead of getting upset with them, I just redirect them. I facilitate. And that is a big thing of Maria Montessori. She was big on facilitating the child's experience, not sitting next to them and directing them one by one, directing them step by step, and okay, now pull out 8 cubes and take away 5. Like, trying to let them figure it out on themselves first, and then if you see that they are not getting it, then you guide and you help them so they can do it by themselves the next time. So that was, you try to look for their strengths. You give them a chance to grow and to look at the strengths they have of, number one, not playing with it. The students who don't play with it and make a sword out of it, they're really trying to work independently and not rely on their teacher. Or at times, one of the strengths that the students have that I've noticed is they'll collaborate with their neighbor. They'll see how their neighbor is doing it, and they're not cheating. They're just looking and seeing how they can do it if they don't know how to do it. So I see that as learning from each other, not cheating. So that is a positive thing that I've seen. Areas for growth, as reflected in the video with Mr. Jensen. Just as Marie Montessori was a free thinker and she thought outside the box, she didn't think like the rest of the people in her times in the early 1900s, how they just gave them paper and said, solve this problem or read this. They didn't have actual manipulatives or desks their size, or manipulatives that were their hand size that they could actually grasp. She thought outside the box, and I like how Mr. Jensen thought outside the box. He didn't say, he told the child, you're not in trouble, you're a drummer, you're a drummer. He used his weaknesses that some people's teachers saw as weaknesses, because he wouldn't stay still, pounding on the desk, and they saw that as weaknesses. But Mr. Chenson saw it as an opportunity to see positive and to see it as he's just a drummer. Nothing wrong with him. He's not broken. He's not a student who's not going to pass or get to 12th grade because he can't stay still, or we quickly diagnose him as ADHD, or put him off to special needs, which is nothing wrong with special needs. But when the kid saw that another adult believed in him and saw his talent, that kid became a successful drummer for people and is now a role model for other students and for teachers to learn from. I'm grateful for this opportunity to have studied Marie Montessori and to apply her methods already in my classroom, and I see the change in myself and in my students, and being able to do what they love, which is to learn, and for me to be able to do what I love, which is to mold these little minds to believe in themselves and to use whatever resources they can and to work independently and to be able to learn and not need a teacher, to be their own teacher. And I'm grateful for this activity, this module.